Now, can he make it happen this time? Steve Webster on pole position. Behind him, Steinhausen and Klaffenbach. Klaffenbach gets a good drive off the line. Webster not so clever off the line, and Claffey takes the lead. Steinhausen's up alongside him, and for a moment, Webster got sucked back into the pack. Certainly the big guys are at the front at the moment, although Steve Abbott got a... And look at that plastic bag. Now, I noticed those blowing around prior to the off and wondered whether there was anything could be done about it. Of course, there's enormous amount of plastic around. There's been shielding spectators from the raging wind and rain during the storms we've had all weekend. But unfortunately, someone's lost control of his packer back, and away it's gone. I remember Steve Webster went out of the lead right there at the chicane last year, and a move that almost cost him the championship when, due to an oil leak, which had been a leaking head gasket, had been spraying oil onto the sidecar platform, and Paul Woodhead got thrown out in a dramatic moment. As another dramatic moment, Steve Webster takes the lead, cuts across through the Haarbocht in front of Claffey. There's nothing the Austrian can do about that. He has to settle for a moment, or has he, for second place. Looks around the outside. No space there. And just about, oh look, inches separate the two outfits as they weave their way back down towards Magic and onto Ossenbrocken. And absolutely terrific move by Jörg Steinhausen, goes right round the outside through Ossenbrocken. Look at that, he's got the two of them in one move. So Jörg Steinhausen showing he really has recovered from that back problem that's plagued him most of the season. And he's on it. Webster comes back. Abbott has set the fastest lap, 2 minutes 13.066. So Abbott is really fired up. The relatively cool weather here as Webster goes back into the lead means that Steve Abbott has got no worries about conserving that 1040cc Yamaha R1 engine, fanning out into the final chicane. Abbott goes underneath Steinhausen. Oh, nearly. Oh dear, Steve, it's all right, you've got plenty of laps to do that yet. 6 laps out of 16 complete. Klaffenbach in 4th place. These are the guys. Webster looking over his shoulder, almost as if he expected Steinhausen to come round his left-hand side as he'd done on the last lap, but Steinhausen was already there on the right. The Van Giels outfit is in 5th place. They've gone past us now, but Steve Webster, is Webster in some sort of trouble? He was looking round at Paul Woodhead there, and Steve Abbott's not hanging around to find out if Webster's got any excuses to offer. I think Webster's in trouble. Is Webster in some sort of bother? Remember, he pulled out, he went out when leading last weekend with engine failure. And I think, judging by that frustrated slap of the right hand from Paul Woodhead, that their moment has come right here, and it has. Steve Webster, the reigning world champion, is in trouble. Klaus Klaffenbach could well be crowned world champion right here with 1 race to go. And the frustrated Webster, the 41-year-old from Easingwold outside York, pulls over. But he and Paul Woodhead are out of the race, and that is the end of their championship defence. Now, Klaffenbach, having seen that happen, he's not going to risk his neck. It's going to be down to these two. Steinhausen, who won for the first time here in World Sidecar last year, has Stevie Abbott for company, and that looks more like it. Klaffenbach on 136. Steinhausen is now on 100 points if he stays in the lead. Don't know how likely that is. Webb on 95. Abbott, as I indicated, 93. Ian Guy on 64. Oh! And Steve Abbott goes very, very wide on the exit, but it gives him space to cut inside cleanly. Jörg Steinhausen, I just wonder if Steve Abbott's been sitting there coolly and feeling like he's been getting held up, but he got the guy on the way into that final chicane. And now he rips out at the front. He and Jamie Biggs, could they get the win that was denied them last year? 3 laps to go at Assen, and Klaus Klaffenbach is staring at becoming world champion for the first time in his 33 years. Into his final lap, Stevie Abbott, Jamie Biggs. And as he heads through his final lap, the 45-year-old from Derbyshire, I wonder how many starts he's made in World Sidecar racing now. It must be a huge number. It was 130 approximately when he won at Donington Park in '99, so it's got to be nearing 150 by now, I should think, or even past that. So he certainly worked very hard for those wins that he's had. And this is as... Oh, and what's happened there? Steinhausen's gone upside down. What a nasty accident. Ah! Oh. What has happened to Jörg Steinhausen and Trevor Hopkinson? We just got the tail end of the incident, but they are well and truly out of second place. That just looked awful. What on earth went wrong? And the rains have arrived. I don't know whether that was a contributory factor, but Steve Abbott finishing just in time as rain strikes once again at Assen. But Abbott crosses the finishing line. He and Jamie Biggs, unknowing of the drama behind them, have won at Assen. But behind them, Klaus Klaverbock will inherit second place. Steinhausen is absolutely livid. Well, we're used to seeing him livid, but he looks to have every right to be here. Is it something to do with that plastic? There was a lot of there were quite a few bags and things blowing around on the track. I hope Hopkinson's all right. He was already a bit second-hand from last weekend. And these are the new Sidecar World Champions. They're probably a bit bemused by everything going on around as they circulate steadily on their final lap. But Klaus Klaffenbach and the lucky Christian Partzer, I say lucky because he's just inherited that sidecar this year, will become world champions. Jörg Steinhausen, he really is incensed. Now, we have seen him a bit put out at his passengers losing their grip before, but never quite as incensed as that. So there's obviously a little bit more to it this time. And here they are, sweet as a nut, handsome as Harry, cruising round into the final chicane. Klaus Klaffenbach, Christian Partzer just have to go through the final chicane, not put a wheel wrong, and they are going to be the world sidecar champions. After 10 years of endeavour and near misses, Klaus Klaffenbach has done it. Congratulations to the Austrians, especially to Claffy. He's been working for that for a long time. Well, we'd like to find out what happened to this guy. He's still furious. And he's been told he's got to stay where he is. Ah, now, here we get a look at we might get a look at what's happened. They're coming up behind Chris and Peter Found. Oh, no, it was. There was a plastic bag blew itself directly into the face of Steinhausen. No wonder he was livid, and he was trapped underneath the outfit. Hopkinson got thrown clear, and that was caused by some stray plastic bag, which Chris and Peter Found, just to say, dodged around, but they were fortunate. Steinhausen and Hopkinson certainly weren't. Well, if I was Trevor Hopkinson, I'd be thinking 3 times about retiring at the end of this season, or even right now. The first British victory of the day, but there is the FIM World Sidecar Championship trophies being handed out to Klaus Klaffenbach and Christian Partzer. If they've won them here, they might as well have them now rather than wait till Imola.